Today, I'm going to talk about successful habits. If you want to be in real estate, be around real estate. There are so many people like me that are giving like free this, free webinar. Then you know what? Join the free webinar. Listen, learn, see what's going on, meet other people, go to a real estate networker, be around the game. Luck is where preparation meets opportunity. They were ready for that luck. Most people don't even know. If I ask them what their goals were, they don't even have. If you don't have goals, you're not going to go anywhere. You're just drifting. You don't want to be a drifter. You want to be clear. This is where I want to go, and this is how I want to get there. What's important in life is what you do when no one else is looking. So whatever the result you're looking at is perfection from all the habits that you have put together. Hey guys, and welcome to the Real Estate Doctor Podcast, where I'm here to educate, inspire, and sometimes entertain you. So today I'm going to talk about successful habits. These are habits that will help you become a success in anything that you do. These are habits, some of which I use and some of which I'm still trying to apply. So first off, I want to let you know that you are a well-oiled machine and you are getting the results of the input that you put in. So if your input is you eat bad and you don't work out, you're obviously not going to be as healthy as somebody that eats well and works out. So wherever you are in life right now, this is a profound statement, so wait for it, it's because you are doing everything to perfection. You are doing everything in a perfect way to get you where you are now, right? So whatever the result you're looking at is perfection from all the habits that you have put together. Now, for most of us, this is not where we want to be. So we need to change the input and have better habits, right? So I want to talk a little bit about habits, right? If you want to win in life, I think one of the most important things is consistency, right? You have to be consistent in everything that you do. So even when I had time periods in my life where, I was transitioning from one business or the type of business or whatever, I got up and I went to work, if you want to call it work, every day, even if there wasn't work to do. I got up, I got a shower, I put on my clothes, and I sat by the computer and I started making phone calls and I started talking to people and I made things happen, right? So a lot of times, the first thing you need to do is just get in the door, get up, be there. I don't know, I've heard it before, like there's such and such percentage is just showing up. This is true. If you show up every day, whether it's working, on your couch or working in an office, you will start to create something. But what you need to do is not just show up, you have to be consistent. Show up every day. Show up every day at a certain time. Work a certain amount of hours. I don't know what everybody does, but here's a funky one that, I have a schedule and sometimes, let me say this. It is very important that you have a schedule and you stick to your schedule. So I have a schedule and I have appointments with people and I also have appointments with myself in my schedule. And then, sometimes people reschedule, I get openings. So let's say I had booked today 7 students, which I will never do in the same day because it's a lot of energy to put all your energy and mind power in with students. So, but let's say I did. So I had 7 hours with students, right? And let's say it's Monday, and on Mondays, I'm okay with working 10 hours a day, right? I will block out time in between those students to do any number of things. Maybe review a property management report from Oklahoma City, or whatever it is. I make appointments with myself, and the key to doing that is you have to keep those appointments with yourself. So if I have an appointment with myself, and this goes back to, the podcast where I'm talking about everybody kind of just lets things happen as opposed to, deciding what is the most important thing today. So there's always fires in business, in life, So if I have an appointment with myself between 10 and 11 to work on my, review my accounting for one of my companies, right? Well, I got to keep that appointment. Because what happens, but that's the easiest appointment not to do because there's nobody there. I'm not meeting with John, so John's not going to know. And what's important in life is what you do when no one else is looking, So I make the appointment that I'm going to do it, and some emergency comes up. I'm not an emergency guy. I always tell people, I've always told people when I had offices and businesses, I used to tell people, listen, I'm not a got a minute guy. Do not come interrupt me and say, hey, do you got a minute? No, I don't have a minute. If you want to talk to me, you schedule an appointment and you tell me what you're going to talk to me about ahead of time, right? Because I have a schedule and I keep to that schedule and I honor my schedule. And what happens every day is that I get things done. Now, whatever it is that I want to get done, now, we're never always going to get 100% of what we want to get done, but I get stuff done. So going back to now, let's say one of those students cancel, they can't come today, which is a big no-no. But that being said, let's say they do that. Well, I don't just go, well, let me sit by the pool and smoke a cigar. I look to the next day and I say, oh, tomorrow I scheduled some time with myself to review my tax return for this business, right? Well, I'll do that today. And that opens up time tomorrow, and I'm trying to be as productive as possible as I can today and keep a schedule. So keeping appointments with yourself, making appointments with yourself and keeping them is key, but you have to have a calendar. I do not. You can ask anybody. You can call me. I give you my phone number. I'm not answering. If you want to talk with me, you tell me. I'll tell you when I can talk to you, and I will talk to you then. So somebody says, hey, man, can we have a call about blah, blah, blah? I'm not your guy. You can't just call me now, right? I'll talk to you. Even if I have time now, you will be taking from something else that already had precedent to you because I decide what I'm going to do every day, and it's for a reason, and it has a purpose. And I'm not going to let you put your fire or your emergency in my purpose today. Now, obviously, look, some family member is sick or, there's always exceptions, but I really don't mess with this. You could call me today and say, I might tell you listen, I can't, let's say today is Monday, hey, when can we meet? It might not be till Thursday at 10 o'clock. And you know what's going to happen by Thursday at 10 o'clock? I will have thought, maybe not a lot, about what we're going to talk about, what points I want to make, what good things I can, contribute to the conversation, as opposed to me just taking a call, not being prepared, not knowing who I'm going to talk to, not giving you the best of everything I can give you. So keep a calendar. It's super, super duper important. And you decide, this is the biggest one. Successful people decide what is important to do for themselves every day. Now, you might do it the night before, but they do it every day. And I always have this is always on. This is always with me. It's at every, it's not mine, but I use this intention journal. Shout out to Brandon Turner. But I use this. This is like my life. So, you can have it. You don't need an intention journal. Actually, all my students, I recommend, and most of them do get it. And what I do with this is, you have to write down the 3 most important things for you to get done in the next 90 days. And whatever they are, you have to work on them every day. You rewrite every day what you're getting done. So this is today for me, which is I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of crazy. Well, here's an example of yesterday. See all those X's and this, that, and the other thing? I'm a madman. I decided, not on a whim, I took the weekend whenever this 90 days was at its inception, and I contemplated what are the most important things for me to accomplish in the next 90 days. They could be personal or business. And again, I say this in almost every podcast. Most people don't even know. If I ask them what their goals were, they don't even have them. If you don't have goals, you're not going to go anywhere. You're just drifting And, you don't want to be a drifter. You want to be clear. This is where I want to go, and this is how I want to get there. So I contemplate where I want to be in the next 90 days. And then every day I go for, let's say, these 3 things. All right, what am I doing today that moves those forward? And there's nothing more important to that. And you know what? If I get nothing else done today, I move those 3 things forward. Super important. I decide what's most important. I'm not putting fires out. I don't, when I had property management companies, people would be like, oh, there was a fire and blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, call office on Monday. I'm not a fireman. What are you going to do with me at 2:00 in the morning on a Saturday night? I can't come save anybody. I can't come I can't get somebody to come look at the property, So I'll put my fires out I'll put your fires out when I decide to put those fires out. They're your fires, they're not my fires. And I won't let you lay on me your biggest priority, because it's not my biggest priority. I know what my biggest priorities are, and I will accomplish them first before I do anything. So it doesn't have to be this intention journal, and some people do this the night before, which I think is great too. So before you go to bed, what's the most important things I need to accomplish tomorrow? And you should write them down, because you're going to forget. Everybody gets busy. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, I bet you if somebody timed how many times I open these and close it and open it and close it. And, because, sometimes I come off a really good session with a student and I'm in their world. And then, I get done the session. I'm like, okay, where do I got to go back? What did I need to accomplish today? Oh, yeah, this. So look, you got to be intentional about everything you do in life. And number one, if you want to be successful, you got to be the person that decides what you're going to do. Nobody else. And you need to have a calendar and make sure that those things are in that calendar and you're accomplishing them. Don't think a day where you had no meetings. Like, let's say some of us work on these weird holidays. Like, let's say, President's Day, right? Some people work on President's Day. They go, oh, I'm not going to work on President's Day, right? Listen, if you want to take off, that's all fine and dandy. But if you're bored, and listen, some of us are insane and you can't sit around. I mean, if I have a 3-day weekend, on the 3rd day, I start tweaking. I don't know, I'm like, oh my God, my wife is like, but my wife knows, it's just too much time for me to chill. I need my weekends. I love my weekends. But, if you give me a 3rd day, I'm going to do some work, right? Well, that day isn't a loss because I'm not physically meeting with people. I'm making appointments with myself to accomplish things. Sometimes it just feels good to write down that, what? I'll put a schedule. I'm going to work. I don't feel like working on my taxes. I'm going to work on my taxes a week and a half from now, on this time. And it feels good. You know what? It's compartmentalized. It's over there. So anyway, you need to decide what's the most important thing. I will tell you a story about Andrew Carnegie, who was probably one of the first billionaires in terms of money today from the early 1900s, who was, he started U.S. Steel, super famous if you don't know him. I always mess this up. It was either J.P. Morgan or it was one of these other titans of industry, but they weren't yet a titan. They came to Andrew Carnegie and they said, listen, I have a $25,000 idea for you. Mind you, $25,000 from 1900 is probably, $500,000 today. I have this $500,000 idea for you. I'm going to give it to you for free. If it serves you, I'm going to come back in 3 months and you can write me a check for this, right? And what it was he gave him a sheet of paper and he kind of pre-wrote it and said, every night before you go to bed, write the 6 most important things you need to accomplish the next day. And he made it like a little pad thing, and you could just, go down and blah, 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 blah. And he gave it to Andrew Carnegie and basically said, tell me if you think that's a $500,000 idea. And this is like, a billionaire. So anyway, at the end of these 3 months, let's say it was J.P. Morgan, it's somebody like him, came back to him. And at the time, they weren't like anybody yet. They had not been, this is not like, J.P. Morgan was J.P. Morgan. It was, he was on the come here. He was making a move. Anyway, he came back and he said, what do you think of my idea? And Andrew Carnegie wrote him the $500,000 check. At the 1900, it was $25,000 or whatever. But he wrote him a check. because he knew how important it was to prioritize what he does every day and to not be distracted. If you're just writing down to-do lists of 50 things to do, well, those things do not all have equal value. For me, there's 3 things that are 60% of the value of all that, maybe 70%. And in your life, that's true too. So make sure you pick what you're working on every day. Now, 2 books, if you want to read them. One, I probably talk about these a lot, is The Slight Edge. I forget the person that wrote that. And then The Power of One More is by Ed Mylett. And they both have the same kind of concept, right? Ed Mylett's is like, hey, if you're in the gym, do 1 more rep, right? Well, a matter of fact, I write down every day. It's very small here, I write down these things. Let me just tell you, just so you know where I'm at. First off, to take my medicine. I have high blood pressure, so I got to take medicine. I remind myself. Second off, meditation. Remind myself to meditate. Serenity, to say the serenity prayer every day. So I am the real estate doctor, right? So I have to be the real estate doctor. I have to serve somebody. I have to coach somebody. I have that down here, right? 1 more. For me, that's do 1 more meeting every day. Do 1 more meeting I don't want to do. You're at the end of the day, you feel like it's done. Do 1 more task. In the book, The Slight Edge, he basically shows you like a graph. If you do 1%, 1 thing more, 1%, 1 more every day, it becomes exponential to somebody that doesn't do. Those other people are down here, and you are slowly, and then it goes whoop, like this. So I'm intentional about everything. I want to do 1 more today. So do 1 more thing. It doesn't take, like if you're at the gym and you're doing, maybe it's not like you're doing 11 reps instead of 10. Maybe it's you do 1 more set at the end of the day. Like today I was at the gym. I'm so happy that I put that. That's actually my 3rd thing here was, to get to the gym and to lose so much weight and blah, 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 blah. And I'm so happy that I committed to doing that. And, I was done with my trainer who killed me and it's a love-hate thing with the trainer. And, he said, you're done. And I went on the treadmill and kept going. I said to myself, 1 more, right? So if you want to be successful, do 1 more thing. It will make it will make an unbelievable change, exponential change in your life. All right. Health. You need to be successful. You need energy and vitality, and that is attractive, just not to like the other sex, but it's attractive to other people that you want to do business with. Who wants to do business with anybody who's like, come on, we're not kids in school with our head down here like, oh, Mr. Teacher, I want to do business because you're excited to do business. I want to see that you're excited about what you're doing, And let me add to that. You might not be in the job or the business that you want to be right now. But you need to show up and you need to water the ground that's underneath you, water the grass that's underneath you. You want to be the best. If you are cleaning toilets at the Dunkin' Donuts, like I did when I was 14, you want to be the best porter, I think I was called, person to clean the toilets in the Dunkin' Donuts. And there's a couple of reasons why. One, because you're making a habit of everything you do, you do it the same way, and I just was thinking about how I do anything is how I do everything. So if I'm going to be the real estate doctor, and that is coaching people on business, life, and real estate, I am going to be the best coach that I can possibly be. If I'm going to go to the gym, I am going to be the best, I don't know what you call that, student I can possibly be. If I am going to go to salsa lessons today, I'm going to be the best salsa dancer I can be. This was the entertainment for the podcast, please note. So I'm definitely not doing salsa lessons tonight. That being said, you don't know who's also, the reason why you want to be the best at what you're doing, you don't know who's watching, right? People of influence notice stars, special people. You know, you might be cleaning the toilet, but if you were given that everything, I would notice you. And now I'm going to say, you know what, man? What's your story? What do you want to do? You know, and I'm going to give you an opportunity. If you are being the best at wherever life has you today, you will make it a habit of being the best at wherever you go in life. And you will skip the line because people will give you opportunities because they see that you're special. Because nobody does that. You know, I was a gas station attendant, pumped gas. Actually, when I applied for jobs when I was in college, I put petroleum transfer agent. More entertainment here for you, right? So I applied for this job in an accounting firm, and my ended up being my boss is like, hold on, Texaco, petroleum transfer agent, what is that? And I was like, I pumped gas. So, you know, but when I pumped gas, right, I was the best. I came before everybody else. I worked hard. My boss, I was the best. Nobody was better. And, you know, I got the better shifts. I got raises. I got this. People noticed me. No joke. People that would come in and we would pump their gas. We'd have conversations. I'd have good energy. And people would offer me jobs, you know, there. And I got opportunities from that. Be the best at wherever you are today. It's a great habit, and people will notice you. All right. Be around the game. So if you want to be in real estate, be around real estate. There are so many people like me that are giving like free this, free webinar, free. Then you know what? Join the free webinar. Listen, learn, see what's going on, meet other people, go to a real estate networker. You know, be around the game. You will be presented with opportunities that will never present themselves if you're not around the game. A lot of people say, oh, you know, some successful people are lucky. I can tell you, I can promise you, they are not lucky. Not one of them, right? Luck is where preparation meets opportunity. They were ready for that luck. They were ready. Like when that opportunity came to them, it wasn't like, oh, well, you know, John called you and said he wanted to buy 20 houses a month from you. That wasn't a lucky opportunity. You know, I was prepared for that. You know, I was prepared. I'm preparing every day for my luck, right? We make our own luck by being prepared. So be around the game. If you're around the game, you are preparing yourself for an opportunity in the game, whatever the game is. You know, you might be a scientist. Go to a scientist thing, you know. More entertainment. What is a scientist thing? I don't even know. But I bet you, you know, it kind of probably would be interesting. But if you're a scientist, that's going to be interesting. Be around it. See who's doing that. You know, you might meet other important scientists. The point is, be around whatever game it is that you want to be, and opportunities will just fall in your lap. People always ask me, where do you find deals? I don't find deals. The deals find me because I am around the game all the time, and people know. And tell people what you do. If you want to be a real estate investor and you don't tell anybody, nobody's going to bring you a real estate deal. You got to tell people what you're doing. You got to be in the game, around the game, you know, be prepared for those opportunities when they present themselves and let people know what you do. And the last thing to be successful is you have to mind your words. You know, I talk about this all the time. Words have meaning. Do not say the word can't. Don't say the word should. My coach says, you know, stop shoulding on you and shoulding on me. So don't say these words. And listen, we all naturally say them. Like, here's another one, which blows people away. But. Do not say the word but, right? So, you know, on Saturday, me and my wife went to dinner and drinks, but, you know, whatever you would say, right? Well, that's a bad example. Let me give you an example. You know what, Johnny? I think you're amazing, but you could work on this. Anything you put before but gets erased by the but. So the person that heard you just said, basically, I'm insignificant. Yeah, I'm great, but the only thing you really wanted to say to me was after the but. And people know that subliminally. They know that. So you have to replace but with and. And you can do the same thing like, hey, Johnny, you're great, and we could work on a couple of things that you're doing tomorrow. Very important. I am a word connoisseur. When somebody's writing something like this, don't ever write somebody like this. I think most of us know not to write like with all due respect, right? When somebody writes with all due respect, you're going to get slammed, right? Or not to be a jerk, right? Well, of course you're going to be a jerk. And if you're the person writing that, you shouldn't write that. You're just setting yourself to insult somebody. But mind your words. Everything you say, how you say it, it's very important that you you got to mind your words for yourself. If you say you can't, you can't. If you say, if you're running around, negative all day, you will attract nothing positive into your life. And people won't want to be around you. I use this example, when I was working full-time, had many businesses, like, listen, they're tough days. And you come home and, your wife or your significant other says, how was your day? And you go, oh man, today was terrible. It sucked, blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you what you just did right there. So I left my place of business where I didn't have a good day. I don't use any of these words. I always have the best day of my life. But let's say I had a day that was not the best day, right? I came into my house, which is supposed to be a sanctuary for me, away from this, right? And maybe my wife had a spectacular day. Maybe my kids had a spectacular day. And before I opened the door, they were all happy. And then my wife says, how was your day, honey? And I was like, oh, I had a terrible day. Well, you think they're going to turn around? My wife's going to turn around? Well, my day was great. And we're all happy in here. So please come in. No, you changed the whole energy of the whole house because you put your feelings on them. When, you know what? You shouldn't. And I won't get into, I did podcasts on being a business owner. Like, as a business owner, you're on your own, buddy. You got to find some other business peers. If you want to join a mastermind group, DM me on my Instagram. You want to join other people that are like you, that are running a business, that know how hard it is. You're not going to go and tell your significant other that you don't know how you're not going to make payroll on Friday. That's not going to help the situation, right? Anyway, you have to mind your words. And you also have to mind the words that you allow to come to you. I don't let people talk to me in a way that I deem as negative. Like sometimes people will, text you like, let's say the world is black and white. And, they say, well, today is black. Instead of writing today is black, they go, well, everything is messed up because this is black and blah, 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 blah. And that's going to lead to this and blah. Don't waste the text. I'm not even going to read it. Tell me what the issue is, and I will solve the problem, and I'll solve it in a happy way. So mind your words. They are not only affecting you and your ability to win, but they're also shitting on everybody else around you. If your words are not good, you are not bringing light into the room. You're not bringing light to people. You're just shitting on people. So those are my rules to success. I didn't count them, but we'll try to count them and put this on this podcast here at the end. That's another one of my entertainment things. But the key, guys, is you need to be driving your own steering wheel in your own life. Decide what's important to you. Schedule it. Put it in your schedule. Do not let anybody else put their fires on you. And if you make a commitment to work on something, yourself, you make an appointment with yourself, keep that appointment. And just stay positive, do the best that you can do every day, one more, and be the best you can be wherever you are today, and you'll be successful. Have the best day of your life.